Worry is draining your energy, stealing your peace, and keeping you stuck. It's like a constant companion that takes small things and blows them up, and forget about the big things. It just makes them so impossible to deal with. But this is the thing, you aren't born with worry. It's not part of your identity. So you can actually do things to learn how to move through this differently and stop letting worry control your life. Let's jump in. I get it. Right now, you're stuck in this cycle that it feels like you can't break. Whether that looks like you replay conversations after they happen and you start to micro analyze every single thing that you did or they did to see, oh my gosh, did I say the wrong thing? Were they responding weird to me? Was I being weird about it? Or second guessing your decisions, even minute decisions like, man, should I have responded that way to my boss? Was I too assertive or was I too passive? All of these can just feel really overwhelming. And listen, this isn't completely your fault. Part of this is because your brain is wired to prioritize safety over happiness. So it's constantly scanning your environment for potential threats. The difference is that we don't live in a landscape where we have to be looking out for the saber-toothed tiger, but the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of getting it wrong, uncertainty, all of those have become our imaginary saber-toothed tigers that our mind sometimes can't distinguish the difference. And our mind tends to trick us into thinking that the more you can worry, the more you can be safe, or the more you can prevent something from happening. But the truth is, all it's really doing is keeping you stuck in this cycle of worry and overwhelm. If this sounds like you, don't worry, you're not alone. I've worked with countless people that struggle with worry. I struggle with worry. To be human means that sometimes we struggle with worry. But this is the good news. Even though it's rooted in biology and there's kind of habits that you've probably done to keep you safe, we can really learn to change some of those habits. And tell me in the comments below, what are some of the things that you tend to really worry about? Let me know in the comments below. And worry isn't something that just lives in your head. It can really impact all areas of your life. If you think about from relationships, you can be so busy kind of overthinking that you lose sight of being really present, from micro moments of conversations with your partner or kids, even to a certain degree at times wanting to control because you want your worry to feel at ease. And so that means also making sure that your kids or your partner are adhering to what you need in order to feel safe. Can also hinder you at work if it stops you from speaking up or putting yourself out there for a promotion, or even the toll on your health. Think about sleepless nights and how that has an impact, or just kind of the sense of constant tension that you hold in your body, the cortisol flowing through your system, that can over time really have an impact. And what we know about the brain, the more you worry, the more those kind of neural pathways get strengthened. So if you think about it, it's just kind of this pathway that your brain keeps using over time. And the more you use it, the more it kind of becomes a little bit on autopilot. But the good news is that with this research that we have now on neuroplasticity related to the brain, there's actually things that we can do to sort of shift those pathways to reinforce other pathways getting used. So there's things that you can start to do to trigger other neural pathways in your brain. But the more you leave worry unchecked and not doing anything, not only is it detriment because it's impacting all these areas of your life, but it's also, again, continue to reinforce these things that you could actually probably do something different. A caveat here, this doesn't mean to shame you or make you feel bad because, oh my gosh, you're doing these things that are strengthening these pathways and make you feel like, oh my gosh, it's your fault. It's just more of this awareness and this acknowledgement that there is actually something you could do. You're not so powerless to this worry. But I also know when I work people with worry feels really overwhelming and it's hard and it's uncomfortable. And even doing something different requires a level of discomfort, and that's part of the growth process. But I acknowledge that is really hard. So again, worry isn't your fault. It wasn't something you were born with. Even though there's an evolutionary root, and even if there's things that are happening in your brain, it's not your fault. And also acknowledging that when we think about this worry cycle, it's something, this pattern that you're actually doing, that we can learn to shift. Because this worry that happens in your mind, you then do things in response to it. And part of the reason you do things in response to it, going back to the sense of trying to gain a sense of safety or control. And in that moment, there's this moment of maybe temporary relief or avoidance or pushing away whatever is causing you worry, but it's only temporary. Right? So it's kind of that short-term gain versus long-term gain versus really making space for that discomfort that's starting to show up. So the more we start to avoid or give in to the worry, the more we might be feeding that worry loop. But this doesn't have to be the only way. There are different ways and things that you can do to start to shift this. Imagine being able to make decisions quicker, not getting so stuck overthinking this, not kind of trying to avoid. And the more you can practice these skills and habits, the more you're going to start to train your mind and body out of these things that are maintaining the worry. And you can start to really shift or unhook from these thoughts. And that's part of what I'm going to go through in this 5-part series on worry. Some tools to help you move through it, some better understanding about it, for you to really recognize, one, you're not alone, this isn't completely your fault, and there's something you can do differently. Watch this next video as we further dive into worry, some misconceptions about it, and things that you might be getting wrong. All right, guys, and like I always say, I encourage you to continue nurturing your mind, body, and soul, whatever that looks like for you. Thanks.